Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I am Binu Teresa. I am a Green IT leader for India. And as we are midway through our World Cleanup campaign, and one of our action being the digital cleanup, we have an expert in the room, Julien Gontier, who has joined us in French time, 2 p.m. And he's a Decathlon United Green IT leader, and he has some valuable insights to share with us. Julian, go ahead. You can introduce yourself.
Yes, thank you, Binu, and thank you, Arjun, for inviting me to this presentation. Sorry, to talk about green IT and digital sobriety. So I'm Julien Gontier. I've been working at Decathlon for 15 years now. I started as a developer at Decathlon B2B, and I developed and readapt lots of IT systems. I led lots of projects directly connected to IT system, from a complete e-commerce website, customer relationship management, or warehouse system. I have a 10 years experience of developing and project management. And after 10 years at Decathlon B2B, I had the opportunity to start a new mission with a lot of sense, sustainable IT leader or green IT leader. It was a new role in the company with lots of challenges and a blank sheet to write the mission. There is three main topics on my role. The first one is the sustainable development IT project leader. This means how to build IT tools to collect data and to convert it into environmental impact. For example, how can we have the global impact of transportation of product for Decathlon, or the impact for all the sold product at Decathlon, and also for all our sites like stores or warehouse. It's my first role. Then my second role was SD data leader. So this means when we collect all data, then we have to report it, to animate it for the global company to follow some target like the CO2 impact, CO2 intensity, eco-design turnover, for example. And my last role, and that's why I'm here today, I'm the sustainable IT leader or the green IT leader. So this means to raise awareness of the impact of IT for environment and also for the people. So this means to build tools to measure and sorry, I forgot to launch the presentation. So sustainable IT leader was to raise awareness of the impact of the IT to the environmental and people, to build tools to measure and then to act, and then also to train teammates to launch some action in the sense of Decathlon to be useful for the planet and the people, because it's not really easy to know how to act when we talk about IT. I'm here to give you some answers or some key points to launch action. It's not easy because IT is we always think that dematerialization is good for the planet, but in fact it has its own impact, and it's not negligible. Sorry, and that's why I'm driving this topic.
It's really interesting to see your growth and all that you are taking over in Decathlon, and you're really making a mark, Julien. Thank you for that introduction. And let's proceed with our first question. Our question is, this is a huge topic and you are starting it from scratch, right? So what is your motivation behind this initiative? What is your personal take on this?
Yes. Like I previously said, I was a developer and also an IT user, and I was really interesting, like lots of us, about new technologies, from assets, devices to softwares. And during my 10 years of developing software, finally the environmental impact was not really integrated in my job, and I was a little bit confused, I know, because I did it in my daily life. I try to limit my impact, my environmental impact. Like I try to have less car, to do more bicycle, to try to compost the waste or to limit the plastic and meat. But I didn't know how to do it in my job. I was, of course, like all developers, trying to optimize my code to make some performance, but not really regarding the environmental impact. But when I discovered, I started this mission 4 years ago, I discovered that the impact of the IT was 4% of the total CO2 emission worldwide. 4%, it's not negligible at all. This means it is the same as the CO2 rejected by the civilian air transportation worldwide. And what is really impressive, it's that this impact is growing by 25% each year. I was really surprised when I discovered that. And this is why I really wanted to act to limit the impact of digital, at least at Decathlon, and then to influence also external companies, also in France, but perhaps in other countries too. And in the other hand, Decathlon strategy has evolved the last few years, sorry, in favor of the limitation of the environmental impact, like you must know. We work a lot on product and new business model. And of course, in IT, it's not the major impact at Decathlon, but it is important to address this subject because everyone can act easily with a very small action. In relative ratio, IT is about 1% of the global impact at Decathlon, but in absolute impact, it's more than 55,000 ton in sorry for my figures, but 55,000 ton for the global impact. So it's not negligible at all. It's important to also understand that each action you could do when you are using digital have an impact on the planet. For example, for emails, when you are sending an email to one recipient, it is equivalent to 6 to 9 grams of CO2 equivalent. This means about 20 minutes of a LED lamp. And when you are sending an email with an attachment about 1 megabyte, it's growing to 19 grams of CO2. So it could be really huge when you are using lots and lots of digital and are not looking really what is your impact, or if you don't know where your impact are. Another figures that could be interesting for your calculation is your storage in the cloud. Each gigabyte you store in the cloud have an impact of about 260 grams of CO2 equivalent per year. So this means each year you have more and more impact if you don't delete your storage in the cloud. I also had the opportunity to develop this kind of calculator. I will share to you the URL. It is a calculator where you can measure your daily digital footprint. You will enter what kind of device you use daily, what is your cloud storage, if you use a specific streaming professional usage, and it will calculate your digital environmental impact yearly and daily. So it's really interesting to be aware and to launch action thanks to this calculator.
These are really very good information, and thank you for all the numbers that you've shared, Julian. As it is digital, we never understand the impact of it, and we always think the digital storage also we companies buy, credits. But it's really good to see the numbers that you've shared. Relating to the same that you've shared right now, as a decathlon, we are close to 100,000 teammates. So, how do you think that we can integrate digital cleanup as a way of life? Is there any pointers from you that personally that you do that you could share with us?
Yes, for sure. Frugality is a mindset from the beginning of Decathlon, and we must really keep that point for our daily professional life. So every action you can do to decrease our environmental impact is good to do. So I will share to you two big points to have a clean digital life at work. So the first one is your regular digital clean. In fact, how can you do that? So first point, you can of course participate twice a year to a Cyber World Cleanup Day. Like that, you will delete lots of data you don't use every day, and I'm sure you don't use all your data every day. You have archived. The second one, it's for your everyday life. Delete your email directly if you don't need to archive it. You don't need, for example, in your daily life, you do not archive all newspaper you receive at home. So do the same for your email. Don't archive newsletter. Don't archive just when you say hello to a colleague or a teammate. Delete it as much as you can. The third point is avoid sending big attachment to your email. Like we previously see, the impact of attachment is really big. So prefer using Google Drive instead of attachment. It has really less impact when it's stored once in Google Drive than 1,000 times when you send an email to thousands of teammates. The fourth point is removing also attached image when you have an email signature. Stop sending signature with big images, or even worse, when you have some GIF attached to your signature, delete it directly and add just some text to prefer text instead of image for your signature. Okay, and then so this is for your daily Google Workspace life. And then for your devices, it's also important because, of course, the Cyber World Cleanup Day is more on the how we can delete our digital storage, but it's also important to take care of your devices. First point, only order what you need. It's the principle of frugality. Don't order lots and lots of digital devices if you don't need it. First point. The second point, sort and delete. Sorry. So the second point, sorry, is take care of your devices. Don't throw it away. Have some what's the name in English? Protection for your cell phone, for your laptop, and things like that. Like that, they will last longer. The third point is use phone shell, like I previously said. And the last point is remove also unused apps and media. You can, of course, clean your cloud storage, but also clean your local data. Delete picture if you don't use it, video, music. Delete all your instant conversation, because it's a lot of storage in your mobile phone, for example. And when you are using lots of storage, at the end, your phone is getting more and more and more. Is not he will not be faster as a first day. So try to delete also local storage. And what is interesting also, Google team, Decathlon Google team is working on a plugin attached to your Google Gmail, Google Workspace, Gmail, Google Drive, and so on. It will be called Google Regenerative Assistant, and it will enable you to give you some reminder to don't forget to delete your email and to have a look at what is your global impact for your Google account.
Great, Julian. These are some solid examples that you've given for us for a daily life, which I'm sure definitely will follow. And you mentioned frugality a couple of times, in your explanation. So my next question is something similar to it. So in business, frugality is one of our core values. But we don't add frugality is not just how cheap and best we can get something, but also how sustainable it can be. Our current business model is not adapted to a level where it is sustainability is one of the top priority for us. So how can we make business and sustainability as an equal halves in our decisions that we take as Decathlon, as a company? What are your views on that?
It's not an easy question for sure. But first, the sense of Decathlon to be useful to people and their planet. In fact, the sense of Decathlon, business is not the purpose of Decathlon. It must be a consequence of taking care of people and taking care of the planet. It's not in our purpose to make the more profit as possible. So it's important to address these two subjects first, and finally the people will be a consequence of these two first point. But to be more pragmatic, there is of course different possibilities to address this problem. The first one, you can of course use the carbon price. So this means you can convert the CO2 impact into economic value. So this means we currently estimate that the cost of CO2 is approximately $50 per ton of CO2. So the more you reject, the more you will pay. So this means if we applied it to the IT United, the total cost for the carbon rejected for the IT could be 2.7 million euro. So it's not $2.7 million. Sorry, it's not negligible at all. So it's important also. It could be a good subject to address. So this means do the measure for your business unit and then convert it into the carbon price to see how much you will pay if you will have tomorrow to pay for the CO2 you reject. You can also address this subject as an economic problem. So you can insert this KPI into your mission, like OKR, or like that. It will be animated every month or quarterly. It's important. Like that, you will debrief your economic performance and also your sustainable performance. It could be a good point to address these two subjects. Sorry. You can also be mission for green IT or for sustainability from 10 to 30% of your time. Like that, you will also launch really good actions. And then you can also create and animate a community to define some action and to be more powerful than alone in your store or in your business unit. And then you can also like business, share your victories with your community internally or externally, of course.
Yeah, I think the carbon price is something that is new. I'm definitely sure, leaders who have joined this session would take it into consideration when they're taking important business decisions. So I have one more question for you, Julien. As a company, we're a well-known company. We do a lot of things very differently. From your personal experience, as you've been a leader, green energy leader for some time, and your growth in Decathlon, do you have any success stories, especially for our non-IT users who joined us today? Something that would help them to, be more conscious in how they approach digital storage, and it'll also be helpful for them in their personal life. So, and answering specific to a non-IT crowd, what is your success story? Something that you can share?
Yes, true. I give you some example before, but now I will also give you some other action you can do because it's not only cleanup. I think we can be more global than just cleanup. We have to decrease our digital daily life, in fact. And of course, digital cleanup is an answer, but it's not the only answer we can have. So I have three different kind of initiative. The first one, quite easy, and it could save some kilogram of CO2 for each teammates every year. So it's important if everyone is doing this easy action, do it. So it's participate to cleanup like Cyber World Cleanup Day. And you can also launch some challenges between teams like that. The challenge is a good opportunity to launch action at Decathlon, and it works well. So you can launch challenge which team will decrease more its storage and its CO2 impact. A little bit more complicated, but it could save more than 10 kilo of CO2 per, at least 10 kilo of CO2. First point is train lots of people to be aware of the importance of the subject like you do today. Of course, internally, but also externally, because our client should know this kind of impact. And the more people you train, the more the subject will become interesting for your leaders to address it into their strategy. So it's really important. Like that, it will be more and more powerful. Communicate, of course, about the impact of the IT and the different possibilities or tool to avoid it, to delete it. A point which could not be really difficult is eco-design newsletter. So this means try to design newsletter to be more responsible, so to have the less impact as possible, because newsletter are sent to lots of people. So try to be more frugal on the images. Don't send huge images when you and resize it. Send the good size of the image directly in newsletter. And for example, at Decathlon in France, we had an eco-design label for newsletter, and I look regularly if newsletter are still eco-design. And more difficult initiative, but it could save hundreds of kilograms of CO2, not 10 like in the presentation. So the first point is measure the CO2 impact of your website and plan action to decrease it. because when you are publishing a website, lots of person of client are using it. So try to have the less impact for your website you are publishing. It will save lots and lots of CO2. And also something really important also for planet, but also for people, start donation when it's the end of use for devices at Decathlon. It will enable to have another life for your devices. And I also will share to you some inspiration from other companies. For example, a bank in France is offering to all its collaborators repair shop. When your smartphone will have their screen broken, a company comes to stores or to offices, and instead of buying a new smartphone, they repair it directly, and Decathlon will pay for finally a screen instead of paying for a global smartphone. It's really interesting. Like that, you will add some new years of life for your smartphone, and it's also interesting for the money you will save for your store or your business unit. So that's it. Hope it helps, and thank you a lot for listening to me.
Thank you, Julian. Those are very insightful topic, and also all your data was really strong. It's really interesting to see the examples also that you've shared, and also this, the repairing instead of buying a new product which has a huger footprint. There is one question that a person has asked. If that is intriguing, you can give a response to it. So Lakshmi GV says, something to consider, portable hard disks are becoming obsolete with cloud storage becoming the new normal. Looks like my footprint is better if I stay old school. So what do you think about her suggestion?
Yes, of course. Cloud, in fact, cloud is the new normal. So that's sure. But I think for me, you have to be responsible when you are using the cloud. Of course, cloud is better than a previous data center or your previous storage when you have some specific storage at home. Prefer using cloud, but don't send everything in the cloud you will never use again. Try to send something really clever and something really responsible, because we are using the cloud too much, and it's not the good reason. In fact, it's today we are using the cloud just because it's free, and because it looks free, because when it's free you are the product. But try to have of course to use the cloud, but to have a responsible usage of it.
Yeah, great, Julian. I think that you said it much better. Thank you so much for your time and all your
Yes, thank you.
insights. Everybody who's joined will definitely take account of everything that you've shared. Will definitely will be benefited. Just a
Yes,
minute.
thank you a lot for inviting me.
Sure.
It's a
Julian, we
pleasure
have
to
one
share.
more question. If you can hold on, we just have one more question.
Yeah.
So this question is, do we use only data center that uses renewable energy? That is a question. In Decathlon, do you know that we do that?
In Decathlon, we have two kind of big hosting company, Google and Amazon, a little bit Microsoft. Google is trying to have is the best for renewable energy in terms of hosting cloud platform. So they are trying to be 100% energy in some years. So that's good. And Amazon is not as good as Google, but they're trying to be better and better. But what is important to understand also for the renewable energy, it is that all the manufacturing of the device is not included in the renewable energy. So this means you have, of course, the manufacturing of the device, which have about 60 to 80% of the impact of the global device, and the usage. For example, when you have renewable energy, for example, in the cloud, it's only 40% to 20% of the impact of the device. So it's really important to extend the lifespan of your devices to have the lowest impact per year for your device.
I think that should answer the question. Thank you, Julian. Once again, I hope everybody who's joined will participate. Again, like you shared an example of an initiative that we can do. We've launched a campaign, and as you know, from 4th to 18th, and this is mid, and we look forward to a lot of participants who will be participating. We'll try to reduce our digital storage by 5%, and we look forward to a good turnaround in that. Thank you, Julian, and yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
You too.